Hi, rich kids. Welcome to our space and to episode 17 in season 2 of the Hot Money Talks podcast. My name is Christine Ishampepe, the money mechanic, and I help you fix your finances. I am on a mission to equip Africa's younger population with adequate financial literacy, advice, and strategy so they can journey to financial freedom and live life purposefully on their own terms and to the fullest, because money is no more a barrier. I want you to live your best life. The Hot Money Talks podcast is a series of honest, open, and transparent money conversations that will guide you on your journey to financial freedom. Here on the Hot Money Talks podcast, we believe 100% that financial freedom is possible with the right set of knowledge, the right amount of time, and the right circle of people. On today's episode, we will be talking about the reasons why couples fight about money. But before we delve right into it, have I told you about the upcoming Women Building Wealth conference that I am organizing? With an aim to help women learn how to build wealth through investing, the Women Building Wealth Conference 2024 is a one-day conference that aims to bring together experts from various fields of wealth creation to lead the discussions around how women can find their blueprint to building wealth. And I encourage any woman that is passionate about building wealth to join us for WBWCon 2024. It is happening live in the city of Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria on August 17th, 2024, and we have only 100 seats available. You can find more details on how to register for the conference on our website at www.wbwconference.com. I hope you'll join us. So on to our topic for today. So we know that one major stressor in marriages is money. And this causes couples to fight and even divorce if it becomes extreme. I read somewhere that statistics have it that 8 out of 10 marriages that end in divorce, right? Their issues are usually money-related issues, yes. And that just reinforces the importance of money and also the importance of talking about money in intimate relationships. Now, can such fights be avoided, right? So we're establishing the fact that money can be a stressor in marriage. And we want to know, why is this so? And can we avoid such fights? Now, here are some reasons I have been able to come up with that highlight why couples fight about money. First reason, they have different opinions about money and how it should be spent. Yes. So when couples have different opinions about how money should be spent, that could cause fights, right? Because one person could feel like, YOLO, you only live once. So once there's money, let's spend it. Tomorrow we'll figure out how to take care of ourselves, right? Now, such different opinions about money and how it should be spent could really cause friction. And that's why it's important that couples, even before you get married, while you are dating, while you are courting, have conversations about money. Get to know your partner's money personality. How do they feel about certain things that concern money, right? How do they react to certain money issues? Okay, who's the spender? Who's the saver? Who's the one who's spendthrift, right? And all of that. Who has even more knowledge about money? Very, very important. Now, a second reason couples fight about money is they do not create time to have money conversations. In fact, this reason should be the very first reason, because usually this is the genesis of a whole lot of, money issues in marriages and, between, lovers. When there's no room to talk about money. And this is very, very crucial, because when you talk about money, that's how you're even able to know your partner's money personality. You're even able to know everyone's mindset about money. So it is important that couples actually create time to have money conversations. There's something I do personally, right, called a money date. And on my money date, what I essentially do is spend time with my money. So I have a date with my money, right? And I sit side by side with my money and I look at my progress and try to, plan even for the future, try to keep up with my goals, set new goals, adjust my goals, and just generally see the progress, with my money. Now, couples should have money dates together, right? Where they sit down and they have money conversations. They talk about their money, they talk about their investments, they talk about their plans, right? As it relates to their money. A third reason why couples fight about money is they do not create their budgets together. And this is such another crucial reason, because especially for those who live together, right? Remember that you are now living together, and so you are each responsible for the other, right? And especially for married couples, when you get married, there's also a sense of shared responsibility, right? So it's no more a one-man gang thing. You are now living together. And creating budgets together will be very helpful, especially budgets that have to do with shared responsibility, that have to do with the home, right? That have to do with you, two of you living together. Very important that you create budgets together, because when you don't create your budgets together, your priorities are different. So what one partner will consider as important and to be put in the budget may not be what the other person or the other partner will also put on their budget, right? And that could create friction, because what if I feel like buying 10 crates of eggs, should trump buying rice? Do you understand? It could be as minute as that. Okay, so create your budgets together. And also creating budgets together, helps you guys align your priorities, and you also know how much you are working with. Now, the next reason why couples fight about money is dishonesty. So here, this is when partners are hiding certain things from each other. So for example, a spouse could be in debt or is addicted to, say, gambling or any other addictive habit, and their partner has no idea. Yes, there are couples like this, right? And when there's dishonesty in such a relationship, it can cause problems, because that means one partner will be making certain money decisions without involving the other, right? And imagine that, for example, you have a joint account with your partner, and your partner is, say, addicted to like gambling, right? And they just go into your joint account, take money as they please, and they go and they gamble with it, and maybe are lying to you and telling you that they used it for a business deal. That could be very harmful in the long run. A fifth reason why couples fight about money is because only one person is bringing something to the table, air quotes, while the other does nothing to support the family, right? Or to support the union. So this could be really frustrating, especially, if the one person who is not bringing anything to the table is making life difficult for the one that is bringing something to the table, right? So you're not doing anything, but your spouse is like the breadwinner, right? And I'm not assigning any gender role now, because there are some, families or unions where it is the woman who's the breadwinner, right? So either of you, whether the man or the woman, is the breadwinner, the one bringing something to the table. And the one who's not doing anything, instead of being spendthrift, and instead of using a budget, and instead of aligning expenses and all of that, is busy spending carelessly, right? That could cause a whole lot of issues between the couple. Another reason why couples fight about money is they have different money personalities and haven't found a way to align together in spite of their differences. So it's okay, right, for you and your partner to have differing money personalities. It is totally okay. God has created us differently, right? And of course, there's also the fact that we must consider that our background and a whole lot of other parts of our lives, will and can affect the way we deal with money. But that is why it is important that we discuss about our money personalities. Like I said earlier, in today's episode, I spoke about how some people are spenders, some people are savers. There could also be one partner who is more financially literate than the other, right? So find your money personality. Who is the giver? So there's some people that they're just givers. So even if it is their last card, even if it is the money they're supposed to use to pay house rent or pay their children's school fees, they are those kind of people that if their friends just hit them up with an emergency, they don't mind using their house rent, to take care of the emergency and think about the consequences later. So who is what, right? Know your money personalities and then find a way to align with your personalities, right? So if you know that your spouse is the spender, right, you who's the saver now has the responsibility to see how you can save more for both of you, how you can also serve as maybe an accountability partner for your partner who is the spender. See how you can also help them, curtail their compulsive spending tendencies and all of that. A next reason why couples fight about money is they do not have an emergency fund savings for the family. And so when hard times come, they pour frustration on each other. This is so valid. So you know how it is important to have an emergency fund, right, for yourself? Yes. When you're in an intimate relationship, you're married, you're a couple, having an emergency fund is like very, very important, because in fact, now the two have become one, right? So everybody's emergency becomes the other person's emergency, right? So it is wise to now have an emergency fund that is for the family. But you see, when there's no emergency fund, when hard times come, everybody's now frustrated because then nobody can really do anything about it because there's no money. And because of that frustration, it could now lead to fights and disagreements, and they just begin to pour frustration on each other. So if you're a couple listening to this, or you're one side of the couple, one half of the couple, right, you and your partner should really consider having an emergency fund. The 8th reason why couples fight about money is when they take decisions independent of each other. So for example, the husband could decide to buy a brand new smart TV for the house when the school fees of the children is still pending or rent is unpaid. Yes, this could lead to huge disagreements between, couples when they make decisions independent of each other. And this now connects to the other reason where I talked about when couples don't budget together. It could lead to fights, right? So when they take decisions independent of each other, it means that their priorities are not aligned. So giving the example I just mentioned, a priority to maybe one partner could be, let's get a new smart TV for the house. But then the other partner is like, but we've not paid the children's school fees, right? So we should pay the school fees first, or let's pay the rent first before we think about buying any nice stuff, right? So when you take decisions independent of each other, trust me, down the line, you guys will most definitely have disagreements. And the next reason, black tax. So here, one or both spouses are facing pressure from their family to meet up with financial obligations, and so they use, family money to take care of their extended family while neglecting their immediate family. Now, this is such a huge one, especially in Nigeria and Africa. If you don't know what black tax is, then let me just break it down to you. Black tax is simply your family's entitlement to your money. Does it make sense now? All right. So a lot of couples really face this, right? Because a whole lot of them are still responsible for their extended family even when they are married, right? And this could really cause a problem, because imagine you have a spouse who is still sending money to their parents, their siblings, still paying the house rent of their family house, still sending bag of rice every 2-3 months, still paying some cousins' school fees, right? Somebody's rent is expiring, they call this partner. Somebody's roof is leaking, they call this partner. DSTV subscription has expired in family house, they call this partner, and the pressure becomes unreasonable. And in bid to be a good son or a good daughter and not to vex your family, right? You take money that is meant for your spouse or for your children, right, or for your union, or for an investment that you and your partner have decided to make, and you use it to take care of extended family without telling your spouse or without agreeing with your spouse. This could really, really cause problems, because your spouse or your partner could begin to feel neglected, right? Because it's like you're putting your family, your extended family, above us, your immediate family, right? And that could become a problem. What I usually advise here is that as couples, that's why money conversations are important, right? during your money conversations, can you sit with your partner and say, okay, I have this obligation from my extended family that I don't seem to be able to run away from. How can we work around this? And then as a couple, you can now decide to now drop a budget and say, okay, in our budget every month, let us allocate X amount of money that will go to your extended family or to my extended family, right? And we communicate and let them know that because we have other needs and other responsibilities, this is how much we can afford to give to them monthly or weekly or quarterly or however, you and your partner choose. The 10th reason why couples fight about money is unreasonable demands. So in some cases, a spouse could be making unreasonable demands which put undue pressure on their spouse or their partner. So for example, a woman has a car, right? But because her friend just got a more expensive car, she begins to pressure her husband to buy her the same car or even an even more expensive one so that she doesn't feel left out, air quotes. So the fear of missing out, right? Sometimes these unreasonable demands can really, really cause, a whole lot of disagreements and fights because it's like you're not cutting your coat according to your material at this point in time, right? Your longer throat is just beyond what you can handle at this time, and unreasonable demands from one partner to the other can really, really cause disagreements, in a union about money. And the final reason from my end, right? The 11th reason why couples fight about money is in cases of careless spending. Now, I remember watching a movie a couple of weeks ago where the lady had a shopping addiction, and so her man would just be in the office and boom, he'll just see huge sums of money leaving his account, right? She would literally go on shopping sprees almost every day and blow the money that the man was making. Now, this caused a huge problem for them and eventually broke their relationship. So, careless spending, again, that's what I was saying, know your partner, right? If you don't have unlimited excess money, if you're not in 30 billion gang, don't go and be with a partner that has a shopping addiction because you go explain entire no evidence. So, careless spending could really, really cause couples to fight about money. Now, are there other reasons why couples fight about money? I'd really, really want to hear from you. You could drop me a comment, right? Let's know, are there other reasons that I have not mentioned in today's episode? I hope that whether you're in a relationship or you're in marriage right now, today's conversation really, really opens your eyes to the most important thing, that couples need to talk about money. Like, we cannot overemphasize this. Couples need to talk about money. It is highly important that couples talk about money. So whether you're in the dating stage, you're in the courtship stage, talking stage, okay, maybe talking stage may be a little too early, right? But I believe that once you're serious about settling down with someone and spending the rest of your life with that person, money should be a topic of discussion between you and your partner. All right. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Hot Money Talks podcast. If you have listened to this point, then it means you have gotten value. Please don't keep it to yourself. Go ahead and share the link to this episode with someone you want to see win with their finances this year and beyond. It would mean the world to me if you took a few minutes to leave me a review in the comment section of this podcast so that others can see your endorsement and join the community of listeners who enjoy this podcast. Don't forget that new episodes of the Hot Money Talks podcast drop every Saturday, and you can listen to them on your favorite podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, and YouTube. Subscribe and follow the show on either of these platforms so that you are notified whenever an episode is released. Recommendations are powerful, so please tell your friends and family about this podcast so we can go on this journey together. To connect with me on other platforms, do well to follow The Money Mechanic at The Money Mechanic page on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I hope most importantly that you will take action on your finances today. Sending you love, light, and a sprinkle of money in between.